Well. If anyone thought Rangers were ready for Champions League football, Tuesday night at Ibrox was a brutal reminder that there's still a long way to go. Club Brugge came to Glasgow and didn't just snatch a win. They put on a masterclass in how to dismantle a team that looked shaky from the very first whistle. It finished 3-1, and make no mistake, that scoreline flattered Rangers. It could have been worse. Much worse. You could feel the tension before kickoff. The stakes were enormous. Champions League qualification means everything. Not just prestige, but massive financial rewards, momentum, belief. And yet, within just 7 minutes, Rangers were staring down the barrel, already 2 goals behind, shell-shocked, clueless, and all over the place defensively. By the 20-minute mark, it was 3-0. Game practically over. Fans in the stands were stunned, some booing, others simply shaking their heads in disbelief. This wasn't just a poor start. It was a collapse, an implosion. Russell Martin's men looked lost. This is a team still finding its identity under a new manager, but the Champions League doesn't wait for you to get your act together. It punishes mistakes ruthlessly, and Rangers made plenty. The defending was chaotic. The positioning was sloppy. Communication? Non-existent. The kind of basic errors you might expect in preseason, not in a match with this level of consequence. The first goal was an utter disaster. A mix-up between center-back Dujon, Sterling, and goalkeeper Jack Butland that gifted Brugge an opening they didn't hesitate to take. Sterling needed to clear his lines. Butland needed to shout louder. In the end, neither did their job, and Brugge capitalized with clinical precision. Moments later, the second arrived. A simple set piece, no one marking in the danger area, and bang, another goal. That kind of defending wouldn't cut it in League Two, let alone against a well-drilled Belgian side who smelled blood. By the time the third went in, a thunderbolt from the edge of the area, unstoppable and absolutely sensational. You could almost feel the air being sucked out of the stadium. Rangers were being played off the park, and not by Bayern Munich or Manchester City. This was Club Brugge. Good side, of course, but not unbeatable. And yet, Rangers made them look like world beaters in that first half. Danilo, to his credit, did pull one back early in the second half. A smart finish after a decent cross from the left. But by then, the damage had been done. It was a goal that gave the fans a flicker of hope, a reason not to walk out early. But deep down, everyone knew the task had become Herculean. Coming back from 3-1 down away in Belgium next week? That's a miracle job. And miracles, as we know, don't happen often in football. Danilo spoke after the game, and you could tell he was trying to stay positive. He asked the fans to keep the faith, to stick by the team, and support them through the difficult moments. And fair play to him. He's right in saying they need the crowd behind them. But even he knows performances like that, especially in a competition as ruthless as the Champions League, just aren't good enough. You can't gift goals at this level and expect to recover. Rangers were punished, and rightly so. Now, the harshest words on the night came from none other than Chris Boyd. The former Rangers striker did not hold back. He called it as he saw it, a shambolic display, riddled with errors, and a first half that was nothing short of embarrassing. And let's be honest, he wasn't wrong. You can talk about building a new system, implementing ideas, needing time, but you don't need time to show fight. You don't need months to show organization. That first half was unacceptable. Boyd tore into the team's lack of leadership. He pointed out that the same defensive mistakes keep happening, week after week. Players switching off, losing their men, not tracking back. These aren't tactical issues. They're basics. And if you're not getting the basics right, especially on the European stage, you're going to get punished every single time. He highlighted the individual errors, the lack of urgency, the body language. Everything about that first half screamed fragility. He even questioned some of Russell Martin's selection choices. There was surprise, maybe even confusion, when 19-year-old Mo started at left back ahead of James Tavernier, who was left sitting on the bench on a night when experience was desperately needed. Mo, in fairness, didn't do too badly. He showed some composure, got forward well a few times, and delivered the ball for Danilo's goal. But Boyd's point was about the bigger picture, Why was a teenager trusted in a high-stakes Champions League tie when seasoned pros were watching from the sidelines? The answer probably lies in Martin's system. He wanted balance on both flanks. He wanted players who could fit into his high-possession, high-risk setup. But here's the catch. Possession means nothing when you concede 3 goals inside 20 minutes. The system doesn't matter if players can't do their jobs. And if anything, Rangers looked wide open, easy to play through, fragile when pressed, and utterly unconvincing when forced to defend their box. Second half was better. It had to be. Rangers showed a bit of character, pressed higher, tried to get back into the game. But let's not kid ourselves. They managed 1 shot on target all night. 1. At Ibrox. In a Champions League qualifier. That's nowhere near good enough. You can dominate possession all you want, but if you're not creating clear chances, you're just passing for the sake of it. Boyd was right again when he said it's not about one night, it's about patterns. This team has developed a worrying habit of conceding soft goals. It happened in preseason. It happened in the league opener. And now it's happened in their biggest match of the season so far. Fans can see it. The players must feel it. And the manager? Well, Russell Martin has to find answers, fast. There's no time to lick wounds. Rangers face Street, Mirren, and Paisley of the weekend, a match that now carries even more weight. Lose that, and the pressure piles on. Then comes the return leg against Brugge, followed by the first Old Firm of the season. It doesn't get any bigger. And right now, there are more questions than answers. Can Martin fix the defensive frailties? Can he get the team to play his style without being so vulnerable? Can the players show the kind of backbone needed to fight their way out of this mess? Because make no mistake, the mood has shifted. Optimism is turning into doubt. Support is turning into frustration. And unless there's a dramatic turnaround, Rangers could find themselves staring at another season of European disappointment and domestic pressure. And while all this drama is unfolding on the pitch, there's been a bit of chaos off it too. Over in the transfer department, things aren't exactly quiet. Rangers received a shock bid from Lille for striker Hamza Igerman. A loan deal, no fee involved, just weeks before the window slammed shut. Unsurprisingly, Rangers laughed it off. Igerman is considered a key player. He scored 16 goals last season and has already shown signs he could be a star under Martin's system. Sending him out on a free loan? Not a chance. But here's the twist. Reports are suggesting that Igerman himself might be keen on the move. After just 1 year in Glasgow, he could be looking for a new challenge. If Lille come back with a proper offer, we're talking serious 8-figure money. Rangers might have a big decision to make. For now, he's staying put. He even featured in the Premier Sports Cup win over a low last weekend. But the situation is worth watching. Losing a player like him, especially during such a turbulent period, would be a huge blow. What makes this situation even more delicate is the timing. Rangers are in the middle of an identity crisis on the pitch. The pressure is mounting off it. And now, one of their brightest attacking assets is at the center of transfer speculation. Hamza Igerman may only be 22, but he already carries the weight of expectation every time he pulls on that shirt. His raw pace, his ability to get in behind, and that killer instinct in front of goal. It's exactly what Rangers need more of, not less. So if Lille are serious, and if Igerman really is open to the move, the club's response must be carefully measured. Losing him might make short-term football sense if the price is right, but it would send the wrong message at the worst possible time. And if that wasn't enough to stir things up at Ibrox, you've also got murmurs from the dressing room. Nothing concrete, but when a team plays like that, disjointed, flat, nervy, you start to wonder if the dressing room is all pulling in the same direction. Russell Martin's philosophy is clear. Possession-based, structured build-up, high press. But that sort of approach only works when the players buy into it completely. And right now, some of them look like they're stuck between instructions and instincts. You see it in their decision-making, players hesitating instead of acting, passing sideways when there's a forward option on, backing off when they should engage. That hesitation is killing them. Fans have started to notice too. The atmosphere at Ibrox is always intense, but on Tuesday night, there was something different in the air. Frustration, yes, but also doubt. You could hear it in the silence after the third goal. You could feel it in the reaction at full time. And although Danilo came out and said the right things, that they're still building, still believing, still fighting, even his words carried a hint of desperation. There's a growing fear that this season could spiral before it even properly begins. Russell Martin isn't naive. He knows what managing Rangers means. He knows that one bad result becomes a crisis if not corrected quickly. And he also knows that excuses don't buy you time. Performances do. Results do. And most importantly, progress does. Right now, Rangers don't look like a team making progress. They look like a team unsure of what they're supposed to be. Take the midfield, for example. Against Club Brugge, it was practically non-existent in that first half. No control, no bite, no link between defense and attack. The Belgian side passed through the lines like it was a training exercise. No one was tracking runners. No one was putting a foot in. And when Rangers did win the ball back, there was no composure, just rush passes and poor choices. If you give a side like Brugge that kind of freedom, they'll punish you. And they did. Then there's the defense, an area that was supposed to be strengthened this season. And yet, it's the same story as last year. Individual errors, lack of awareness, switching off at key moments. Dujon Sterling and Jack Butland had a nightmare for the opener. Butland, who has been one of the few consistent performers, looked visibly furious, and rightly so. He's kept Rangers in games before, but even he couldn't rescue them from the chaos unfolding in front of him. And it's not just the mistakes, it's the reaction to them. You want to see leaders stepping up. You want to see players digging in, talking to each other, lifting the tempo. Instead, you saw heads drop, silence, disbelief. That can't happen. Not at this level. Not in that stadium. Rangers are meant to be relentless, a team that fights until the last minute, especially at home. But on Tuesday, it looked like they gave up before halftime. Even the fans' patience has its limits. And though they've been incredibly supportive of Russell Martin so far, the mood is shifting. This is Rangers. Expectations are sky high. Every game is a must-win. Every performance is under the microscope. And when you fall short, especially in Europe, it's not just disappointing. It's damaging. Financially, emotionally, psychologically. Let's not forget what's at stake here. Dropping out of the Champions League qualifiers means more than just missing out on glamour fixtures. It's about money, serious money. It's about keeping your best players, attracting new ones, setting the tone for the season. Without Champions League football, the entire dynamic changes. Suddenly, the pressure to win the league intensifies tenfold. The Europa League becomes the fallback option. And while that's still a decent platform, it's not what this club was aiming for. Martin now has to rally his troops. The trip to Paisley this weekend against Street Mirren won't be easy. They're a tough side, well-organized, and they'll smell blood. If Rangers come out sluggish again, they'll be punished. The players have to respond. The manager has to respond. There's simply no room for another slow start. Not now. And looming on the horizon, of course, is the Old Firm. The first one this season. A massive test for Martin. The biggest of his Rangers career so far. These are the matches that define a season. The kind that can turn critics into believers or tip pressure into full-blown crisis. Celtic won't care about Rangers' problems. They'll come to Ibrox looking to twist a knife. And unless there's a dramatic turnaround in the next two matches, you have to worry about how Rangers are going to cope. There is talent in this squad. No one's denying that. Danilo, Eigerman, Butland, Raskin, they've all shown glimpses. But talent isn't enough. It needs to be backed up with character, with fight, with a clear game plan that everyone buys into. And right now, it feels like those elements are missing. Training this week will be crucial. Martin needs to get his message across. He needs to cut the noise and focus on the basics. Solid defending, quick transitions, better decision-making in the final third. These aren't revolutionary ideas, but they are essential. Because if this team continues to play as open and vulnerable as they did against Brugge, the next few weeks could get very ugly. There's still time to save the season. Of course there is. One result can change everything. A big win in Paisley. A miracle in Belgium. A statement in the Old Firm. It's possible, but right now it feels distant. It feels like Rangers are stuck in second gear, unable to shift up, watching the season slip away before it's even properly begun. The support will be there. They always are. But the relationship between fans and the team is built on effort and belief. Tuesday night, too many players looked like they didn't believe. That's the part that hurts the most. It wasn't just the scoreline. It was the feeling that Rangers were out of their depth, that they froze, that the occasion was too big. That simply cannot become the standard. Russell Martin has a huge job on his hands. This isn't just about tactics anymore. It's about psychology. It's about leadership. It's about proving to the fans, to the board, to the squad, and maybe even to himself, that he's the man to take this club forward. Because after what we saw against Club Brugge, the doubts are louder than ever. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Steven Gerrard has sent shockwaves through the European football community with a declaration that few expected to hear from a manager usually measured in his words, particularly when it comes to his current club. The Rangers boss, admired for his calm authority and tactical clarity, suggested that without a substantial investment in new players, the Glasgow side may find their ambitions of collecting more trophies slipping out of reach. This statement did not merely resonate with the loyal supporters who have long filled Ibrox with noise and passion, but also with pundits across Scotland and beyond who have been quick to dissect every syllable of his remark. Gerrard, who has lived through the unforgiving pressures of top-level football during his legendary playing career, knows the weight of such words, and he does not utter them lightly. To many, his comments sound like both a warning and a plea, a reminder that football at the highest level remains a ruthless game in which standing still is never an option. With Celtic always looming in the rearview mirror and European competitions demanding greater depth, the pressure mounts. Gerrard's candid revelation suggests the future of Rangers depends not only on tactics, but on boardroom ambition. The timing of Gerrard's declaration has only added to the sense of intrigue and tension surrounding Ibrox. Coming at a moment when supporters expected the focus to be on refining the current squad, his call for reinforcements points to an awareness that the existing group may lack the strength required to dominate both domestically and on the continental stage. Such comments immediately sparked chatter among insiders that Gerrard could be pushing the hierarchy to loosen their grip on the finances, with whispers circulating that he wants quality additions capable of competing with Europe's elite. Observers have noted that while Rangers have talent in abundance, consistency and depth remain fragile points, particularly when injuries and suspensions inevitably strike. By going public with his demand, Gerrard has effectively placed the club's leadership under the microscope, challenging them to match his ambition with resources. For the fans, the message may feel like both a promise of continued success and a warning that progress could falter if reinforcements do not arrive. Across Scotland's press rooms and pubs, the discussion has shifted from summer fixtures to the very future of the club under Gerrard's stewardship, and the rumor mill spins faster than ever. Behind closed doors, the Rangers boardroom is said to be buzzing with conversation, speculation, and perhaps a degree of unease after Gerrard's remarks. Some insiders believe his declaration was carefully calculated, designed to apply pressure at precisely the right time, as clubs across Europe prepare their transfer strategies for the months ahead. Others wonder if the manager's frustration has reached a tipping point, with concerns that he may not settle for incremental progress when he craves silverware. Reports suggest that scouts have already been tasked with identifying potential targets, ranging from experienced leaders who could steady the dressing room to younger prospects who might blossom under Gerrard's guidance. Yet the looming question remains: will the board find the financial muscle to meet these demands, especially given the economic uncertainties still rippling through football? Supporters remain hopeful, clinging to Gerrard's proven ability to attract talent and inspire performances, but the tension is palpable. In whispers across the city, from taxi rides to terrace chants, people wonder whether Gerrard's words signal the beginning of a new era of investment or a brewing conflict between manager and management that could shape the trajectory of the club. European football circles have not ignored the reverberations from Glasgow, with analysts and journalists across the continent quick to highlight the significance of Gerrard's stance. For many, his comments underline the broader challenge facing clubs outside the financial powerhouses of England, Spain, and Germany: how to remain competitive without the same level of resources. Rangers, though rich in history and support, must navigate a market where talent is expensive and rivals are aggressive. Gerrard's public insistence on reinforcement could be interpreted as both ambition and pragmatism, acknowledging the gulf that still separates his side from Europe's elite. His reputation, carved from years of battling giants as Liverpool captain, gives weight to his assessment. European observers speculate that if Rangers heed his call, they could position themselves as a formidable force not just in Scotland, but in continental competitions. Yet doubts linger over whether sufficient backing will be provided, and whispers emerge that Gerrard's future loyalty may hinge on the board's willingness to support his vision. What started as one candid comment has transformed into a continental talking point, the kind of football rumor that fills columns, chat shows, and late-night debates with speculation about what comes next. For the Rangers faithful, Gerrard's statement has been met with a mix of anxiety and optimism, fueling a narrative that could shape the atmosphere at Ibrox for months. On one hand, fans see in his words a fierce determination to push the club higher, a refusal to settle for mediocrity, and a reminder that their manager shares their hunger for titles. On the other hand, the suggestion that investment is essential carries with it the unsettling implication that failure to act could stall progress or even undo the strides already made under his guidance. The mood in Glasgow has become one of restless anticipation, as supporters scan the news for hints of transfer moves and speculate on which players might don the famous blue shirt next. Conversations spill from stadium concourses into cafes, workplaces, and family living rooms, where the burning question remains the same. Will the board answer Gerrard's call? The speculation itself has taken on a life of its own, feeding rumors that some investors are already being courted and that names are quietly being linked behind scenes. Until official decisions are announced, however, the footballing world will continue to buzz with conjecture, as Gerrard's unexpected declaration cements itself as one of the most talked-about stories in Scottish sport. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comment section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.